Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Officially half that work week in the rear view mirror. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Working towards the weekend. We'll chat with J.D. Pickell about the college football playoff final coming up here in 15 minutes. LSU targeting two guys that I think have real potential in the transfer portal. One on the offensive line, one on the defensive line. We'll do that coming up in 30 minutes. But right now, let's talk some black and gold to begin the second hour. Aaron Schatz of ESPN.com ranked the 2025 NFL rookie classes in terms of the teams with the most production. And as I always do when I see these lists, I look at it and I go, okay, where do I think the Saints rank? And my instinct was like pretty high. Now, this one is done with some real metrics. The DVOA rankings, which are play to play, like how much production you're getting. It's very objective in terms of data that they pull, snap counts, tackles, yards, value added, win rate on different plays. Like it's not just like, well, I thought that group played pretty well. There's actual metrics that go into this. So if you look at the top 5 in this metric, Carolina comes in at 5th. Tedero McMillan obviously carrying a lot of the weight there. Nick Scorton, Princely Umanmiele did a good job for them there. New England Patriots with local product Will Campbell there. Jared Wilson, Travion Henderson, really good class there. 3rd, the New York Giants. Jackson Dart, Abdul Carter, Cam Scadamu before he got hurt in his 5 starts. They come in at 3rd. The Cleveland Browns come in at 2nd. Had a couple of quarterbacks they took in the draft, Carpin Swessinger. And then the number 1 pick, by the metrics, on ESPN.com, your New Orleans Saints. And when I was reading this, I was curious how much Shuck was going to weigh into this. And truthfully, not that much. He is the lead in this blurb. Said he ranked 21st with a 49.2 QBR in 9 starts. And as they continue, it's not quite Saints are set for years territory, but Chuck has certainly earned the right to become that over the next couple of seasons. Says blindside was protected by first-round left tackle Kelvin Banks, who started all 17 games. He was above average in run block win rate at 75.6%, a little bit below average in pass block win rate, but 87.7%, not awful, and you would expect him to be that in his first year playing left tackle in the NFL. But Ben Solak and his all-rookie team highlighted third-round pick Jonas Sanker as a premier communicator and coverage player. Quincy Riley, who was in the 4th round as the team's 3rd cornerback, was above average in coverage, according to DVOA. He made 5 starts. Danny Stutzman did not make any starts, but he had 59 career combined tackles. And they did factor in that you've got a 3rd-round pick coming back in Vernon Broughton, who had an injury in week 2. So the point of the matter is that you got a lot of guys' experience. Some of it was exceptional experience. There were flashes everywhere. And the feeling is this was the best draft class in the NFL. And you know what? It's okay if Fadil Diggs didn't help a ton. I know Molokai Mataval played at the end there when you were hurting for pass catchers, but wasn't a huge impact guy. Vernon Broughton didn't play this year at Texas. Maybe he's a bust. Maybe he's a hit. The point I'm trying to make here is that the Saints did what they never do, and they made 9 draft picks. And so you take all of those lottery tickets, and lo and behold, to varying degrees, you got some hits. Like, you're not going to hit the Powerball on 9 draft picks, but you might have with Shuck. You might have won the $5 million prize instead of the $100 million prize with Kelvin Banks. You might have got a scratch-off hit there with Danny Stutzman. It might have paid, but if you trade away your draft picks to move up 4 spots to take somebody with a good relative athletic score, your chances of hitting worsen. And the Saints did not do that. And it is imperative that they do that again with this draft coming up. I went on a rant 2 months ago about how they were worse than league average across the board at every position. I pinned that on Loomis. I pin that on Ireland. I pin that on Kai Harley. I pin that on Gail Benson. I pin that on everyone. Because they were. Before that run of 4 straight wins, you could not have looked at that organization and that roster and suggested, okay, this is getting better. But Shutt gave the ultimate spark. And Banks was pretty good. And then Stutzman got a chance to play a little bit. And you saw more of Quincy Riley. And you saw more of Jonas Sanker. And you started to win games. And then Devin Neal made a couple of plays before he got hurt. And now all of a sudden you realize that that could be a young foundation. But you have to do it twice in a row. We can go back and pull the tape, but I know what I said going into the 2025 draft. You need to get 4 starters. And then you got to come back the next year and get 3 or 4 starters. You've got to find 7 or 8 guys to play. I didn't say all pros, but you got to find 7 or 8 guys to start. Because you need the rookie contracts, you need the youth, you need the talent, you need it all. And right now, Kelvin Banks is a starter. Tyler Shuck's a starter. Jonas Sanker's a starter. And Quincy Riley's probably a starter. And I'm not even talking about Vernon Broughton, Danny Stutzman, Devin Neal. So you might have 5 or 6 starters from this draft. You still got to go get 3 or 4 more in the next draft. And the beauty is that you don't have to try to reach for a quarterback, which can derail a lot of stuff because a lot of quarterbacks don't work out, and your hit rate's probably a little bit better at other positions early in the draft, and you can do that now. But the negativity that was surrounding Ireland and Loomis was well-founded. Their drafts in the last 4 or 5 years have been awful. Their draft in 2025 looks incredibly promising. We won't be able to tell that whole story for another year, maybe another 24 months. But it's a step in the right direction. And if you can do it one more time, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but if you can do it one more time, you transform an era? I don't think that's hyperbolic. I didn't say win 4 Super Bowls. I didn't say start a dynasty. I did say transform an era. And that era is rooted in Kellen Moore. It's rooted in Tyler Shuck. And it's got to be draft picks. And if you can hit on one more draft, one more, then you should have enough money freed up in free agency to plug the holes that you have, which should be lessened because you've hit on these draft picks. But this is incredibly encouraging that this is not local New Orleans radio guy. This is not local Baton Rouge radio guy. This is not local Lafayette radio guy. This is not Locked On Saints or anybody that's right here, that's locked in the bubble, that's looking right at this thing from as close as you can possibly be. This is someone that's surveying the entire league with some objective data over at ESPN. And they look at the objective data, and they look at the entire league, and they look at the Saints draft class and go, that was the best in the first year. That was the best one. And it's not skewed by the fact that somebody really liked the quarterback. Because I could see some NFL analysts going, yeah, I think these other guys are okay, but who cares? They got the quarterback number 1. That's not why they did this. They're taking into account the other guys, their production, their positions on the field, their youth, and I'm taking into account their salaries, and you put all that together, that's incredibly promising for New Orleans. We knew that the draft pass was encouraging, but I'm further encouraged when I look at an ESPN publication that feels the exact same way. Hats off to Mickey Loomis. Hats off to Jeff Ireland. Hats off to those guys for getting it right once. But you can't just get it right once and then fall on your face. You got to do it again. We'll get to draft coverage as we move on in the spring, but encouraging stuff for the Saints to be considered at the top of the NFL with their draft class over at ESPN.com. You can read the full story over there at ESPN.com. Our guy Ross Jackson feeding you great info at LouisianaSports.net. Going to have a lot of draft content coming up. Going to have a lot of free agent content coming up, and it's all for free right there at LouisianaSports.net. If you want our Saints content, of course, you can always find that over at Hunt on Saints. Appreciate you all for helping us grow that channel. Into the offseason should be some great opportunity for discussion. So go subscribe to the channel. Go check us out at Hunt on Saints. All right, let's talk some college football national final as well as what the story is on Lane Kiffin from a national perspective. We'll do that with J.D. Pickell of On 3 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check out their great work, builtbyrenaissance.com. It's builtbyrenaissance.com. If you've been thinking about a pool, you got to call my guy, Joey Blanchard. And I will give you his cell phone number in a second. You can grab your phone, and I'll give you a cell phone number in a second. But look, it doesn't matter what kind of pool you're looking for. Maybe you got a huge family, want a big, huge pool in the backyard that can fit 6 kids. He can do that. Maybe you're at a different stage in your life. You just want a little cocktail pool that you can spend some evenings in. Either way, Joey Blanchard can make that happen for you. They can customize it to your exact specifications. Maybe you know what you want. You can start that process. Maybe you have no clue. You just want a swimming pool. Well, let Joey go through it with you. And the beauty is he's the owner of the company. So you're going to be dealing with the owner of the company from the consultation to the design to the dig to the pour to the fill. All the way through, you get my guy, Joey Blanchard. Call him, 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Start that process today in January so that when that weather heats up, you're ready to get in that pool that you've always wanted at your home. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools. They can do outdoor kitchens too. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Chugging right along here on this Wednesday, half that work week in the rearview mirror. We're going to get to a couple of LSU portal targets coming up here in our next segment. But we always talk to our guy, JD Pickell, from On 3 at 2:15 on Wednesdays. Give us a little bit more time. 2 more left in this football season. We'll preview the national championship game today, and then we'll talk about it as a whole come up next week. JD, how we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Also feeling good that college football got a win over the evil NFL and kept a quarterback in Dante Moore in Eugene, man. So hate to watch it go, man, but love to watch it leave with the college football national championship on Monday, and excited to talk some ball with you, man.
Let's start with the home team here. LSU has pulled in 30 kids in the transfer portal, including Sam Levitt, and now Houston Longstreet at quarterback. How you feeling about the way Lane is restocking the shelves in Baton Rouge?
Hey, man, I mean, 2025, that bracket I put together preseason, I was like, this is the year, baby. LSU national champs. You know what? I'm thinking about taking another dip here. It's January, so I'm just circling like a shark around that take. So tongue-in-cheek aside, I think it's impressive that LSU is able to have so much volume with Lane. I think it speaks to the way they are obviously well-resourced on the NIL front. I think it speaks to the way Lane Kiffin and his staff are able to resonate with these kids in the portal. My biggest take, though, is this is not going to be a year that you have to use a different filter on if you're an LSU fan when it comes to your expectations. I think for some coaches across college football, like Florida and John Summerall is a great example. I don't think anyone is showing up to his house with pitchforks and torches if they go 8-4. It's 8-4, first year in the SEC for him. Let's see what next year is. It will not be chill vibes if Lane Kiffin goes 8-4 his first year in Baton Rouge, and having Sam Levitt as your quarterback now means you have what you need to ideally here do better than 8-4. So I think it just means we can assess this year as a real year sample size for Lane Kiffin, his first year on the Bayou.
A lot of optimism down here in Baton Rouge, that's for sure. We'll kind of see how things shake out the rest of the portal cycle and into spring football. All right, let's go to the action that we saw at the end of last week into the weekend, specifically Dan Lanning and Oregon. Second straight messy exit for the Ducks. Good teams. Ohio State was really good last year. Indiana's really good this year. But what does it mean for Oregon?
Oh, thanks for saying that. I feel like everyone's acting like Oregon just got blown out by Cornell in the college football playoff. And I'm like, hey, they have only lost to, in the last 3 years, teams that have either won or played for a national championship, going back to Washington and DeBoer during that 2023 season. So I think Oregon's a really easy team to dunk on right now because they wear the flashy uniforms, and it's easy to do the layup stuff on social media where you say, well, they got the 0 in their logo and the 0 in the national title column. I get all that. I don't think we're properly calibrated to the progress they've had over the course of these last few years. And I'm not even trying to be glass half full guy. The fact that they have advanced further every single year under Dan Lanning, I don't think should be just completely dismissed, and for whatever reason it is. I'm looking at Oregon with Dante Moore coming back. I'm saying, like, they should probably be all in on trying to go win a natty in 2026, and, like, that should be where the bar is set. And I don't think that's, like, an irresponsible thought. The one thing I will say, though, for Oregon, if I'm being critical here, being at that game in Atlanta, Oregon was just so stubborn and refused to play anything besides man coverage on the back end on third down against Indiana. And it was just like it was a back shoulder clinic, man. I mean, you saw it. It was just Candy from Baby, Surratt. It was Cooper. It was just every single matchup. Indiana was just thrashing it. And so I think my biggest concern here from Oregon coming out of that game and coming out of, this season in general is like the lack of willingness to have another answer as a defense. So a little bit in the weeds there, but I'm not sweating anything when it comes to Oregon. I think they'll be right back in that mix next year. And Dante Moore coming back obviously does nothing to negate those expectations.
The other semifinal loser was Ole Miss. How do you feel about the Rebels? Do they build on this, or does it feel like that was probably a decade, 2-decade, 3-decade run?
It's a great question. I don't know if I have. I kind of just feel a little bit kind of like how you feel after the last day of school when you wake up for your first morning of summer. You're like, I don't feel that different, even though everything is different. I don't really have like this emotional high off of us making the semifinals, and we lost Lane Kiffin, but Pete Golding seems like a good coach, and we got we got it together to make a run. I'm looking at Ole Miss, and I'm encouraged that they looked as good as they did against Miami, because I think you can market that. Like, I think if you're trying to go against the negative recruiting of, well, Ole Miss lost Lane Kiffin, why would you want to go there? You get this playoff run where Trinidad Chambliss is awesome and Pete Golding is doing a lot to cut himself a bit of a public promo, if you will, being seen as like the cool coach in college football. He's drinking a beer with Marty Smith during the interview, whatever. I think there is reason for optimism. For me, I'm just going to have to see it before I believe it. Like, I think Ole Miss having better players in the SEC than the teams they're going to have to beat to get back to where they were this year is a tough bridge to cross, but we'll see. I've been wrong before more than just my LSU Natty prediction in the preseason, so we'll see what happens there.
JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 National College Football. Wherever you're looking for college football, you can find him daily. All right, let's go to the national championship game down on South Beach. I'm told Indiana's got the largest living alumni base in the country, and Miami's playing at home. So tough to get in the building, but should be a festive environment. Do you give the Canes a shot?
I do, just because of what you said. The fact that it's a home game, the fact that it's got so much emotional juice behind it with Cristobal being for Miami and playing at Miami. There's so much unquantifiables on the Miami side to make me think this game won't still be competitive going into the fourth quarter. The tricky thing is, if you're picking Miami, you're picking them to do something that nobody has done this year, which isn't just beat Indiana, but force Indiana to make some mistakes. Like, I keep saying this, you can't spell Indiana without AI, and that feels like what they are. Like, they are machine-like. They are without error. Like, Fernando Mendoza has thrown more touchdowns than incompletions this playoff. That's absurd. And so with that being the precursor to this, I don't feel good picking Indiana to do something they haven't done this year. And so for that reason, I'll roll with the Hoosiers. I think they actually win and cover, Hunt. I think it's kind of a little backdoor situation where we get maybe a late field goal from the Hoosiers, or we get a little late touchdown to put it away. I think it's 27-17, and Indiana flips the college football world on its head and brings home a national title to Bloomington.
I watched the game, Penn State and Indiana, in a hotel before I was doing pregame, and couldn't be locked in on it. I certainly saw the end and the incredible catch in the back of the end zone. But why was that game close? Can Miami do anything similar to what Penn State did that day? I know it was a road game for Indiana.
Yeah, I think they absolutely can. I think the fact that they were able to run the football so well against the Hoosiers is something that should be noted. My thing is, if you're going to beat Indiana, it still, to me, is going to require forcing Fernando Mendoza to make some mistakes. And I mean, he hasn't had a double interception game this season. So with that being the intel we have going in, it takes a lot of stuff we haven't seen yet to forecast for it to happen. So maybe it's a line of scrimmage thing. Maybe Miami truly is that much better up front, like we've, labeled them over the course of this playoff. But I have a hard time seeing that happen to the degree where Miami plays clean enough to win this game. Like, that's the thing. It only takes, I think, one slip up for Indiana to grab you by the throat. And when they land one of those punches on the jaw, they don't really tend to let up, Saban Signetti style. And it's a tough bridge to cross for me, Hunt.
What does Miami need from Carson Beck on Monday?
They need him to throw 0 interceptions. They need him to take the money when it's on the table. If we got some play action dialed up and we got those safeties creeping up, like we're not going to get a couple of extra swings at this.
Yeah.
Like you have to cash in when there's some of those vertical shots available. So the biggest thing I would say is no negative plays, especially interceptions. But I think especially on like 3rd and 7+, if we find ourselves in that situation, we got to be good enough to be able to convert, which sounds simplistic, but that was kind of how they won the game against Ole Miss. Like you go back to the average down and distance of 3rd down for the Miami offense. With how they won the game and how many points they scored, you would think it was a lot more manageable. They had an average of 3rd and 8 against Ole Miss. And so 3rd and 8 against Indiana, as much respect as you give to the Rebel defense, it's going to be a lot harder to convert. So throwing catchable balls on 3rd and 8+ and allowing your guys to win in man coverage is going to be the biggest thing for me with Carson Beck. But no picks. We got a chance, Carson. Here we go, babe.
You like the Hoosiers and the cover. Big picture here. We're sitting here in the middle of a playoff. Teams competing for a national championship. LSU signed 30 kids out of the transfer portal. You had this situation in Seattle where Devon Williams was in and I'm not in because there's legal stuff involved. Like, and you got Trinidad Chambliss with trying to get his 6th year and they're suing the state of Mississippi. Like, how do you feel about the current state of college football? Like, big picture, you good with it? Do we need to make significant tweaks? Or are you just focused on the game that they're playing on Monday? Like, big picture, what do we think?
I'm just ready for us to get to the final resting spot to where we can actually start building. Like, I'm not into the whole we're transitioning with the playoff. We're not sure about the portal window. And I'm good with tinkering. I'm good with getting it right. But I would much rather just know where we're going to be at so we can start to actually put a solid filter on this thing. Because even going back to how we're assessing, like, the situation at Alabama, like, everyone's mad that DeBoer's not Saban. It's like, yeah, no doubt there's only one Saban. But even then, you're like, well, but Saban, got this far in the playoff and he won this many national titles. And you're like, yeah, but that was way more difficult. It's way more difficult right now for DeBoer to go win 3 to 4 games, win a national championship, and way more difficult with NIL and the portal to keep his team in place than it ever was for Saban, which shouldn't take anything away from Saban, but just the way we assess success in current college football versus, that of like 5-10 years ago, I think is really skewing our picture of what is and isn't successful in the current state. So I gave you a little more than you asked for there, but I'm ready for us to get to be truly like foundational part of the future of this sport, start building and get our expectations and filters in a row to watch this beautiful sport here going forward.
Enjoy the ball on Monday. We'll talk one more time next week.
Oh man, hey, I promise I'll never say goodbye. I'm going to see you later. So I will see you later, Hunt. One more time, man.
It's our guy JD Pickell on 3 Sports, host of the Hard Count. Good enough to give us some time on these Wednesdays. All right, 2 targets in the transfer portal that LSU is apparently on, getting visits from, or has gotten a visit from. I think both are pretty important. I'll talk about them when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
So you're a business, right? Looking for a loan? I know where you need to go. First American Bank and Trust. Well, why, Hunt? Why would I go to First American Bank and Trust? Well, that's pretty simple. They've been at this for 116 years. They know what they're doing. They got 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, so you get all the resources that you need in your lender, but you also get that hometown feel. Hammond, St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, St. James, St. John Parish, Lafourche, Terrebonne, Dutchtown, Jones Creek, wherever you are. I was over in Metairie a couple of weeks ago picking up the Myers man from the airport. Saw First American Bank and Trust right across from where we're eating lunch. That's what you're going to see. The people you're going to see in there are going to be the people that you go to church with. They're going to be the people that you go to lunch with, the people that your kids are in school with. And when you make a phone call and they make a decision on your commercial loan or your personal loan, that decision's made in Southeast Louisiana. When you make a call for a question, you're not calling a call center that's somewhere with somebody that you don't want to deal with. It's all right here. It's local. It's that community feel with the resources of 25 locations at First American Bank and Trust. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Invite you to stop on by. If you're looking for a residential loan or a commercial loan, it all starts with First American Bank and Trust.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Love telling you about my guy Jonathan Carbo, the team at the Highland Insurance Group. You can find them online, highlandig.com. That's highlandig.com. They love to help you out with your property and casualty insurance, especially if you are a business. But another thing that they certainly do over at the Highland Insurance Group is employee and group benefits. Benefits are a big deal. You understand that if you own a company, if you're CFO. Got to have great benefits for your employees. That helps you recruit talent, helps you maintain talent. And there's one specific carrier out there that when I was talking to Jonathan said, look, they're gouging folks on renewals. And if that's the case with your business and you're looking at your healthcare and your benefits renewal and you're going, this is really detrimental to the bottom line, get a second opinion. Get a second option from the folks at the Howard Insurance Group. They're an independent broker. That means they can get you multiple options on the benefits front that may be able to lighten the load on you financially with that renewal. You don't want to compromise your benefits. But if you can do it at a more efficient price, why not take a look? Jonathan Carver and his team are happy to help you out with that. They're based here in Baton Rouge, but happy to help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online at highlandig.com. All right. If you caught the beginning of the show, I just tipped my cap in emphatic terms to Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss, Billy Glasscock on the assembly of this LSU quarterback room. I think it is absolutely as good as you can do to go get a proven quarterback, to go get a 5-star freshman backup, and to go get a transfer from Elon for depth that has played some college football that's got some talent. There's no guarantee that means you're going to throw for 4,000 yards or win the SEC, but just looking at it, where LSU was 5 days ago with no quarterbacks and looking at where they are now with 3, I think is amazing. However, I do have some concerns with the roster construction currently. As I assess it, I think you're short on the offensive line, both talent and depth. And I think you need guys to affect the passer on defense. And so as I look at the current portal targets for LSU, and I look at guys that have visited or will visit, there are 2 names that are standing out to me beyond the 2 we talked about yesterday. Devin Harper from Ole Miss, who's from Shreveport, committed to LSU at one point, then played for Ole Miss for a year. He's in the portal, was going to be Ole Miss's left tackle next year. Like, yes, absolutely. And then, of course, Jordan Seaton, former 5-star, future first-round pick from Colorado. We talked about those 2 guys yesterday. Absolutely. You can add those 2 guys in, slam dunk. But there are 2 more guys that I want to talk about today that I think make a lot of sense, that I think would be quality adds that would help alleviate some of my concerns with LSU up front, both offensively and defensively. Let's start on the offensive line. Sean Tompkins is committed to North Carolina right now. He was a Baylor offensive lineman. He's going to be a redshirt junior, just finished his redshirt sophomore year. And he's going to visit LSU this week, even though he's committed to North Carolina. Go figure. In 2025, he played in 10 games. He played 446 snaps at left tackle for Baylor. He was over at right tackle for 14. I don't know if that was because of an injury or that's just a formation that they had where they overloaded the offensive line. Either way, you're talking about a guy who played about 460 snaps, the vast majority at left tackle for Baylor. His PFF grades are not awesome. 50.2 on offense, 48.1 run blocking, 56.1 pass blocking. That's not going to knock your socks off. But 6 of the 10 games that he played for Baylor, his PFF grade was a 70+. He had some real clunkers. Against TCU on the road, 27.3. And against Utah, 19.7. Half of his 12 hurries he allowed in one game against Utah. So there's some talent there, 6'5", 300, starting experience. I don't know that he's an all-conference player, but he's got starting experience in the Big 12. And I am looking at LSU's offensive line room, And I'm not telling you he's a plug-and-play starter at one of the tackle spots or one of the guard spots or that he can even play guard. I don't know. But there's some solace that I get in taking him in with guys that you've taken from the lower levels. You've taken a junior college player on the offensive line. You have taken a player from the FCS on the offensive line. Adding someone from the Power 5 is not going to hurt my feelings. And I think that Sean Tompkins, who, look, Bill Belichick has decided he wants to take a look at him. And I know that they weren't great this year, but, like, I'll take his word for it. I'm not saying he's the end-all, be-all, and I certainly want Devin Harper and Jordan Seaton before I want Sean Tompkins, but I'm not kicking Sean Tompkins out the door. If he visits LSU, I would love them to add him because they just need depth. They don't have enough guys at offensive line right now. So that's on the offensive side. Sean Tompkins, former Baylor offensive lineman, committed to North Carolina. The other's on the defensive side, and that is Damon Wilson. Damon Wilson started his career at Georgia. He then transferred to Missouri. And you look at what he did this year at Missouri on the edge defensively. 9 sacks. 6 of the 9 came in SEC play. Missouri played Alabama this year. He had 2 sacks in that game. Now you look at his Pro Football Focus grades. Overall on defense, a 78. That's excellent. 66.2 against the run. Here it comes. 81.4 against the pass. 81.4 in pass rush. Listen to these statistics from PFF on Damon Wilson. 38 hurries on the quarterback. 9 hits on the quarterback. He had those 9 sacks, 6 in league play. This is a skill set I want. This is a skill set I want. I realize that you have added on the defensive front. You have. You've gone out there and you have added, in some cases, some big-name players on the defensive front. Jordan Ross from Tennessee fits that bill. Former 5-star, played for the Vols this year. Very likely a starter for them next year, and he comes in with a skill set to rush the passer, and his pedigree says he will. This is not a pedigree. This is playing in the SEC and getting to the quarterback. I need that. I think LSU needs that badly. I've got high hopes for Gabe Relaford. I hope he's awesome. You've got some freshmen that you're bringing in on the defensive front. You feel okay about Kalaj Cobbins. But I want a guy that's done it in the SEC. And Damon Wilson has done it in the SEC. He's come on a visit already. He's taken some time away during the dead period. But if LSU can make that work, that's huge. You have gotten to a point for me. I like where LSU is at running back. I think LSU has added on plenty at wide receiver. Tight end looks stacked. I think the quarterback additions have been awesome. Linebacker play looks to be good. I trust LSU in the secondary at corner and at safety. I'm looking at the edge of the defense, pass rushing. I'm looking at the offensive line. Candidly, right now, I don't think the offensive line is close. I don't think they're close. I think the defensive line is close. But if we're going to sit here and talk about competing for the college football playoff, which, look, I'm not going to criticize myself or anybody here on our station or anybody who's writing or blogging or on a message board for talking about the college football playoff this past August. I'm not going to criticize anybody for doing that. I think it's realistic to have those discussions at LSU. Couldn't fall flat. They cannot make it. But in January, we're going to talk about Omaha around here. And in August, we're going to talk about the playoff. You want to start talking about going to the Final Four in men's basketball in October, you're probably out over your skis a little bit. But in these two sports, football and baseball, we're going to talk about those types of chances that time of year. And that's what I'm judging these roster acquisitions against. 10-2, 11-1 playoffs. I think you've gotten to that level at a lot of places on the field. I don't think you have on the offensive line or the defensive line. Yesterday's segment, Devin Harper and Jordan Seaton, please. Got to add to that mix, Sean Tompkins from Baylor. Defensive line, Damon Wilson. That's a guy I think makes a ton of sense for LSU. I know that Kevin Peoples spent some time at Missouri, not with Damon Wilson, so maybe that correlation doesn't play. But maybe it's, hey, I've been to Missouri and LSU. LSU's better. Whatever. Make it happen any way you can. I don't know what's going on over there. They've added 30 dudes. They're doing something right. These are 2 more I would love to see them add moving forward. Sean Tompkins and Damon Wilson. Transfer portal targets, they're at 30. I'd like to see that number up 33, 34, 35. I think they're going to get there. We'll see as the time moves forward. All right, got one segment left to go. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, if you've got a home that was built around 1990, 1995, 2000, the odds are you've got one of those standing showers and then one of those massive jacuzzi tubs. That was a popular thing at that point in time. Maybe you take a big old jacuzzi every night. And if that's the case, then I'm not really talking to you. Maybe you love the way that sets up and you're not interested in any changes. In that case, I'm not really talking to you either. But maybe now that we're 30 years down the line, that tub is not functioning properly or that shower's just kind of deteriorating because it's been used too much and you hadn't had any upgrades. Don't just call the guy down the street, hand him some cash, and see if he can fix it. Get David Duvall in and come to do a full bathroom transformation for you. He can turn that standing shower into a linen closet. Then turn that tub space, that jacuzzi space that you don't even use, into a walk-in shower. It's a lot of space. Fits great. Go see the pictures of it at onebathandclosets.com. Do what our guy Brian Haldane did, host of Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3 every single weekday morning. He called David Duvall, had that consultation, got that bathroom overhauled, thrilled with the results. You will be too. If you're looking for financing, they've got it 0% up to 18 months. Same as cash. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online. OneBathAndClosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Want to get into the pool of your dreams? Check them out, builtbyrenaissance.com. My guy, Joey Blanchard, helped out dozens and dozens and dozens of Baton Rouge area residents get into the pool and the outdoor kitchen of your dreams. You want to make sure that by the time the weather warms up, it gets to spring and summertime, you want to do some outdoor entertainment, you want to have that pool that you've always wanted. Start that process now at builtbyrenaissance.com, or you can call my guy Joey, 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Renaissance Homes and Pools online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Interesting news just coming across the old Twitterverse. Grant Chadwick has decided to come back to LSU. And that's interesting because LSU went and got a punter out of the portal in Hayden Craig from Florida. Of course, Coach Houston comes over from Florida where he was the special teams coordinator there. He's going to coordinate the special teams in Baton Rouge. He brought a long snapper. He brought a kicker. He brought a punter. And Grant Chadwick said, hey, I'm gonna come and challenge. And that's great for LSU because Grant Chadwick kicked more than 20 punts over 50 yards this year. I thought did a very, very good job. That had been a sore spot for LSU in the year previous. They were terrible in 2024 trying to kick the football. They had 2 guys trying to do it. None of it worked. They were steady with Bramlett for the last few years, but then last year was a mess. And then I thought Chadwick corrected that. Just a sophomore, comes back as a junior, and he's going to compete with Hayden Craig, who is a redshirt freshman at punter. So I think LSU is going to have a good punter this year. That's a good thing, whether it's Hayden Craig or Grant Chadwick. Those guys want to be here, and that's a positive for the Tigers. Hopefully, not a lot of punting, though, with these 3 quarterbacks they've brought in, and Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss. But in case they have to punt, they should have a pretty good one. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Let's start it off with, hold on, let me get this down a little bit. Let's start it off with some portal news with Dante Moore taking his name out the draft and returning back to school. And it's been known that Dylan Raiola is going to take the year and sit on the bench and redshirt at Oregon instead of, he did sign with Oregon. So is Raiola making the right move and sitting on the bench next year? Take it or leave it.
Depends on how much money you got.
Oregon paid him some money now. They paid him some money.
I'll take it. Look, you got years. You can use them. He's certainly no stranger to transferring.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was promised it's just a matter of, in these cases, you probably need to be transparent. Like, I don't know what happened with Sam Levitt and the DeMond Williams deal at the end of the visit and how transparent that was or not. Apparently, Houston Longstreet was not thrilled with the way Lincoln Riley handled their quarterback situation.
Interesting.
And, it's a deal where everybody's in flux, everybody's moving, and I don't think players. I shouldn't paint with a broad brush there, but like players are looking out for their best interest, and then coaches have to put the best team they can on the field. So. Yeah, I'm going to go try to get a quarterback, and if there's another one available that I think is good, like I'm going to go try to get him as well. It's an odd situation. It's a tenuous situation, but as long as everybody is simpatico when things settle, well, you just move forward, and I guess that's the way things are in Eugene right now.
Okay, so the Jacksonville Jaguars have some questions to answer this upcoming offseason with the number 2 pick, Travis Hunter, and which side of the ball he'll play next season. As the Jaguars have a loaded receiver room with Jacoby Myers-Parker, Washington, and LSU's very own Brian Thomas Jr. The GM came out today and said Hunter will play both sides of the ball next season. So is that the correct move for the Jaguars? Take it or leave it?
I mean, I'll take it. If you've got a lot of talent, he can help you on both sides of the ball. If you feel like you are stacked one place and hurting another, put him where you're hurting. Like, if you feel like you're in pretty good spot in both places, just use him where you think it's advantageous. You can substitute in football. Guys can come in and out. You're not locking guys in one place or another. Just because he plays one side of the ball doesn't mean he can't play the other later in that game. I'm not going to pretend like I know the exact substitution patterns or the roster for Jacksonville, but I think that you take him as high as you did because he can do multiple things. Yeah. So you let him do multiple things.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to let him lose sooner or later because you took him with number 2 and you made it a trade with the Browns. So you gave up a lot of capital to get Travis Hunter. So with Brooks Koepka leaving Live earlier this week, Live Golf has signed 2-time major champion Dustin Johnson to a multi-year extension. The league announced Wednesday.
I bet they did.
Liv is not giving up without a fight. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I don't know how good the fight is. That is, for those non-golf fans, that would be like the Pelicans signing DeAndre Jordan to a 2-year deal. Like 10 years ago, he really could help you out. As of right now, he doesn't care. He's checked out. He's cashing a check. Dustin Johnson spends way more time on his boat fishing than he does practicing his golf. Ooh. He had a great run. He also knows Liv is a complete joke, but they pay him a lot, and that's all he cares about, and that's fine too. DJ was very transparent about it. It's the guys that said they were trying to change the game of golf that I had a monster problem with, and those guys are still mainly over there. Koepka knew it was a joke. DJ knows it's a joke. Those guys are going to do what they think is best for them. Brooks Koepka wants to play real golf. DJ just wants to fish and collect checks, and he can do that.
You know, I should have known when it said his last major win was like 2010. I should have known he was a little bit older.
He won the COVID Masters. And then that was pre-Liv when he was still competing hard. Then Liv gave him a 9-figure check, and he said, well, I'm going to go hang out with Wayne Gretzky's daughter and go fishing. And he did. And he gained some weight, and he stinks at golf now, and that's fine. He's rich.
All right. Well, the Tuscaloosa News reported Tuesday that Ty Simpson officially submitted his paperwork for the NFL draft. We noticed, however, the details came out that he had an offer from Miami for $6.5 million and an offer from Ole Miss or Tennessee, Ole Miss and Tennessee for $4 million. So should Ty Simpson have put his name in the draft or went back to school? Take it or leave it.
Draft, take it.
I'll take it.
Look, I am not here to tell you. Pay attention.
I'm listening.
I'm not here to tell you that the transfer portal has not been amazing for LSU, or Paul Skeens and Jaden Daniels and Angel Reese and Tommy White, and like the names go on and on and on. There are some great things about the transfer portal, and I'm not saying abolish the transfer portal. But I can also stand here and say that a guy wants to go to Alabama, wait his turn at Alabama, play for Alabama, and then go try to be a professional without just taking a cash grab. And he said, like, if I went to Tennessee or Miami, like it would destroy everything that I built at Alabama. You can believe that or not. And I don't know that I believe that it would destroy his reputation at Alabama, but I would suggest that I can salute Ty Simpson for choosing to be a teammate and to be an Alabama Crimson Tide football player and to have that be home for the rest of his time when he wants to go back to where he played college football. Again, portal's fine. You want to transfer? Fine. That's the rules. You want to get money? Awesome. Those are the rules too. I completely get it. But I can also say that and salute Ty Simpson for the way that he handled that. I think it's great.
No, I think it is because a lot of guys are not one jersey guys no more, as you can see.
No.
So I think there's a lot of.
And I'm not mad at Sam Levitt for being my quarterback. I'm pulling for Sam Levitt hard. But I can salute Ty Simpson for that. It's a good thing.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
One word. Wildcats or Tigers tonight?
I gotta go Big Blue Nation. I'm sorry, guys.
That was a billion words on a one-word answer.
I know.
I'm taking Kentucky too, but I'm hoping.
Get out of here, man.
I'll be in the PMAC tonight. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. You can read my recap on LouisianaSports.net. Matt's going to drive you home next one after further review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, with the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I don't remember what my last live read is.
Swing Easy.
It's Swing Easy Golf Club. I love Swing Easy Golf Club, so it'll be easy to talk about. I was there on Saturday. Had a blast. We teed it up at TPC Sawgrass. Made a birdie on the first hole. Hit a great drive. Piped an iron shot right on in there. Had about 12 feet. Poured it right in the middle. You hit your drives. You hit your second shots. If you need to chip, you hit those. Got to roll a putt in. You make them. It's a real feel of golf. It's not the same, but you card a score, and we had a great time at Swing Easy. We had the music going, had the TV on mute, got a bucket of beers delivered into our bay. A great way to hang out on a Saturday afternoon playing a little bit of golf. Weather's cold, rain could be showing up. Swing Easy is always a great option to just go have some fun and play some golf, especially in these winter months. Go see them. They're on Seagan at Perkins. You can get a tee time at swingeasygcbr.com. Awesome spot to go play some golf. Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.